welcome back to the Supercoach Hub Classic Podcast. You're with myself again, the host, Nathan Scoble, my main man, Joshy. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, and he's not a myth. He's here. Pleb,
He actually is.
G'day.
Introduce yourself, Sid.
G'day, I'm Pleb, as you know, or my real name's Jai, but I finally made it. That's all I've got. See you later.
Nah, fantastic. You can clearly see that he's been putting in the research in his off hours. This is wonderful, mate. This is absolutely wonderful. How's your Supercoach team coming along, buddy?
Yeah, this is one of those things where it's like, I think you guys need to use me as like, I don't know, the physical form of everyone, all the viewers, because I'm that person. Like, I play Supercoach every year, but I watch your streams and stuff when I'm not on it, like replays and stuff during work.
Yep.
And it's just fucking ridiculous how much you guys know when it comes to footy. It's actually scary.
Absolutely.
Especially Supercoach, it's ridiculous. And like I like my Supercoach and stuff, and I'm like heavy on NBL and basketball. But yeah, these days, like I reckon 5 years ago when I was doing it, there was no one around, and now there are so many content creators and people just coming out of nowhere who are they just know their shit. It's actually like, it's nuts. It's very intimidating, which is not good because I don't plan on winning, but I want to make at least top 10,000. I'll be happy with that. But yeah, that being said, it's helped my team. But I think everyone agrees that this season is probably one of the hardest in terms of, cementing a spot and cementing a team. But on the other hand, there's probably the most choice we've had in a very long time in the amount of players. But yeah, I'm not good. So I'm just giving everyone a warning. I'm fucking shit. Don't listen to me at all.
Nah, perfect. We've been hyping you up like there's no tomorrow, mate.
I don't know why. I did not tell you to do that.
Of course you did. I can show the DMs if needed.
Prove it.
But it's like we lost a superstar in Verns and we've gained a delinquent in yourself, which is not really a good trade. So we'll kick it off. The first game saw the Mighty Pies in first gear absolutely romp through against the Tigers. What did we think of that game, boys? Because I don't know, the Supercoach scores from that game was very interesting. There was a lot of in-game resting going on, and I did not like what I saw from a few of the Tigers forwards that you can pick in Supercoach. So I know Paddy Lipinski had 126 Supercoach points. Will Hoskin-Elliott had 101. Quainer had 108. Maynard had 94. And Nick Dacos had 102. And there's only one relevant name in that, and that's Braden Maynard. No, I'm just pulling you off there. It's absolutely Nick Dacos. He scored 102 from 57% time on ground. That was absolutely insane. There's literally, I don't think there's any relevance from the Pies here. What are we thinking? Joshy, anything at all?
Yeah, it's pretty much just Dacos. That 102 was in 57% game time, which is, I don't know how you can't pick him at the moment with his ownership percentage and 72%. Other than that, though, like people got some interest in Lipinski. I don't really at nearly 400k.
I never
did have a massive score.
Was a Supercoach relevant player at all.
He's not, mate. He's absolutely not. Yeah, and there you go. For everyone
that's coming from a bloke who is 1/10 your knowledge, and I think he's like, why is anyone choosing him?
Well,
I have no idea. People get sucked in by the scores.
For all the people on the audio, you can literally hear how much research Plebs put into tonight. It's absolutely fantastic. And the people
I'm speaking for the viewers. They want to know the questions and answers.
Don't you dare disrespect our viewers because they are not as silly as what you look, my friend. For the Tigers, Jaden Short had a night out. That bloke literally did whatever he wanted. We had Timmy Taranto with 115. Just going through it, Thompson Dow had 96, and then I'm fairly sure it's safe to say everybody's R3 had 87 in Sam Naismith. Any interest from the Richmond boys at all? Gibcus had a 62, but it wasn't. I mean, you can probably get that from another rookie a little cheaper than 150k. Was there anything from the Richmond boys that made you change your mind at all, gents?
No, literally the only two Richmond players I've got are like pretty much everyone Gibcus and Naismith, just because it suits the structure of the team and they're cheap. And I assume Gibcus is going to make minimum 150k, 200k this season. You'd think.
You'd hope so, but he's going to need some spike games in that. Absolutely.
What does he need to average to get that?
He'd-
65, 70?
Yeah, but he
Yeah,
need
well,
a few spike
yeah.
games in there. Absolutely, he would.
Yeah, in his debut season, he averaged 65 and made like 167 by the bye or something. But I don't even have him at the moment because I think he's basically Zach Reid type, but Zach Reid's cheaper. I don't know if
Yeah,
you can go both of them. Obviously, if they're both on the bench, maybe, but they're going to have to come on at some point in Dacos's bye, and I don't know if I can trust both of them on the field. But yeah, there's a lot of tinkering to do, and if
But just
Gibcus
removing
comes out in
Gibbs from my
opening round,
team now, choose.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And as you can see, we're all professional around here whilst we're working on air. Yeah, I mean, Thompson Dow sparked some interest, but
Yeah,
I think there are better rookies in the midfield at a cheaper price. Moving on to the Carlton team that got absolutely spanked by Max Gawn himself and the D's. I think Carlton are probably one of the least Supercoach relevant teams going around, besides Zach Williams. A lot of people know last year I bought Cripper in when he was averaging 115, and I don't think he scored 115 for the rest of the season in 15 rounds combined. He was disgusting. But the D's, I think it's just cemented that we all need Max Gawn. Like, is that?
Absolutely.
I think it's pretty much if you want a chance to be in the chase to win. If everyone's intention is to try and win the 50K, I think you've got to start with Gawn. There's no other way around it.
Absolutely. Billings did all right. Your man Joshy, he scored a 91. Track was just in first gear. Honestly, I don't think he really gave a fuck what was going on. He just seemed to do whatever he wanted. Bailey Laurie scored a 58. We had Caleb Windsor, who is at an elevated price, scored a 77. And Blake Howes down back at 123k, scored 44. Do we have any of them in our teams at all? Barring Gawn, of course.
I've only got Gawn at the moment. Yeah.
Yep.
But I got rid of Windsor.
You got rid of him?
Yeah, just I don't like a first-year winger. I know he scored 77, kicked 2 goals, but 11 disposals in pretty much a whole game. Like, if he doesn't have those 2 goals, what's that? A 50 or 40? And yeah, it just reminds me of Ollie Hollands last year, and I think he's that one higher end rookie that I have to miss out on to fit everyone else in.
There's just spitting facts, mate. Now I've got to remove him from my fucking team.
Yeah, so as you can see, whoever's listening on the audio or tuning into the live stream, Pleb has literally zero clue what's going on right now.
I have 30% clue, 30% out of 100. So not great.
Maybe if you're timesing 3 by 10, mate.
Some content creators have been watching where I think I could do fucking better than them. So that's saying something.
We won't throw shade on here, mate, but there's a few we could name.
I just want to name names.
Joshy, what was that, mate?
I think the most important part about this podcast is finding out what Pleb's drinking right now. What beer is it?
It's apple juice, isn't it?
Nah, you fuckhead. It's some German beer or something. I just drink international shitty pretentious beers. I don't like Australian beers that much. I'm not even going to pronounce it because I'll come off racist with my German accent. So not doing it.
No, wonderful. And we don't promote underage drinking around here. He may look like he's 12 if he shaves that disgusting mustache off, but we do not promote underage drinking on the Supercoach Hub AFL Classic website. Moving on to the next game. Swans lost to the Lions. McCluggage went absolutely nuclear, and old man Dane Zorko did as well. Swans, Joshy, you were telling me about a bloke who now has what percentage ownership?
Oh, Errol, he keeps climbing and climbing. I checked yesterday, he was in 39%. I'm sure that's going to keep rising, especially after tomorrow night. He'll probably pump out another 120. At the moment, he's in 41%. It's getting to the point where I think I just want to ignore his buy now because he's that good.
Absolutely, he is. Absolutely. I mean, I think there's probably 4 Supercoach relevant players in there if we're not including Heaney, because every single year we hear the same article about how he's going to play midfield. Horse has come out and said he's going to get more CBAs. And we know that Horse is just a lying prick and that never fucking happens. But James Jordan scored 115. who's currently in my team at the moment, and I assume after this pleb you'll have him in if you don't already.
No, he's
Matty
in my team.
Perfect. Well, you do know something. Surprise, surprise. Matty Roberts scored 100, which was nice as a midfielder playing off of half back. So he's definitely going to get that DPP post round 6, which is interesting. What did we think of Brodie Grundy's game? Because the Supercoach score is not looking nice at all. Josh, you'll go to you first, mate, because you've probably got more knowledge than old mate.
Oh, well, I mean, he's got that number 1 rock roll. I know Laddam's played heaps of game time, but I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow night. I haven't even actually checked the teams. I don't know if
I
Laddams
swear I
is
read
playing.
somewhere Laddams isn't playing.
No, there's no
then
Laddam.
Perfect. And Laddams was the one that took some of those CBAs and made that score what it was. But I mean, 480k for someone who like Grundy, I can't believe people are dropping off. He's gone from 67% to 50 now. But yeah, he's going to score 110, 120 tomorrow night, and everyone will be back on him. But he's stuck in my team.
Absolutely. Pleb, who's your ruck line, mate? Surely it's Gawn and Grundy.
No, it is Grundy. No, not Grundy. It is Gawn and English.
Ooh, passing on Grundy. Why is that, mate?
I just, in terms of I think everyone's umming and ahhing with Grundy. I think he's in similar to what's his name? Not even going to reference him, but I don't know. I just every year I play it too safe and then go these these risky mid-price players and stuff, and then you can go up and down. But I'm just gonna spend big with Bond, English, and somewhat Gawn. He's cheap at the moment though, but I just want to get ahead in points. I don't care because if Grundy fails, I'm just hoping he does shit for the first few weeks, and then I'm hoping then English goes nuts. I'm ahead, but also I don't like to buy. I'm not having anyone. I'm trying to avoid all buys in my team.
Interesting.
That being said, I did say I have James Jordan on my side.
Yeah, interesting. So you don't have Matt Roberts at all either?
Not yet, but I think I'm fine with rookies and stuff can generate cash on the bench, but it's with those buy rounds where, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's so confusing with the rules this year, where I know it's best of 18, so I'm trying to max as many primo players and stuff during those buy rounds, so everyone else doesn't have as much. And it's just the top 18 scores, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So more primos I have and stuff, more chance I'll get those higher scores and stuff. And if I just keep putting buy players in there, it just lessens that chance. So that's the game plan I'm going with. And I expect nobody to follow that at all because I will be dead last by season's end. But yeah, I'm just avoiding all buy players. And Grundy falls in that.
Yep, completely understandable. He did score a 65, had minimal time on ground, and gave away 4 free kicks. And it looked like to me he was literally just going through the motions. So I'm not worried at all. Kitty Coleman had 89. Kai Lohman had 99, which was very interesting. Is there any love for Kai at all?
He's on the watch list. Not going to pick him just off that game, but if he is named in this opening round side and plays well, then he's definitely one to consider.
Yep, completely agree. I assume no one's touching Hugh McCluggage or Dane Zorko at all. No, maybe in your area of forte, Joshy, maybe in draft. I'm not too sure. That's a foreign language to me. But yeah, Brisbane won convincingly. I do think we need to highlight that Sheldrick didn't get picked for tomorrow night. So James Jordan surely will have a decent game, and Matt Roberts as well. I don't think they're sub candidates. Maybe if they're cruising to a big win, I'm not too sure. But I think that really increases their upside right there. Just less of the pie for other players to grab. We'll move to some questions. And there is a lot of love for Pleb, which I have no idea what's happening to our listeners.
Going on. What the fuck is in the water?
But we'll answer this one first because this is extremely serious, and we need to actually get to it. This is from Jay. Where the fuck is Verns? Kilmore internet connection. So Verns is actually feeling fairly crappy tonight. He was all good to go. Sent a message in today. He's not doing too well. So we all sent him a cup of concrete so he can harden up. But I'm sure he'll be fine and raring to go. So as I said before, We replaced his genius brains with a delinquent in pleb, and 1 + 1 = 2. So we move on. Global, good to see you, mate. DeGropey is a sneaky value pick. I'm huge pies, man, but I just could not go there. Joshy, yes or no?
Absolutely not.
Nah, didn't think so. Pleb, what's your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, what Josh said.
Yep, perfect. If that's probably going to be 95% of your answers tonight. Speaking of the great man, what is up, fellas? No, mate, we're just talking about how you left us, which is interesting. But we do honestly hope you get a little bit better and, toughen up a little bit along the way. Jay wants to know, Scoobs, my mate wants to pick Ollie Wines and Jason Horne-Francis. Thoughts on this? Now, Josh, I know exactly who this is, and this man is a very strong-willed individual, and we have been trying to talk him out of Jason Horne-Francis. Ollie Wines, I can understand.
Yeah.
But Horne-Francis, I think, is just a wasted midfield pick. Joshy, what's your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, exactly right. I can understand the interest in Wines because he actually did look good. He's fit again, was in that midfield and scored well. But Horne-Francis is like probably their 4th or 5th string mid at the moment. Like you got Butters, Rosie, Wines, and then if they want to tag her, Drew can roll through there, and even Mead was getting some opportunities. But Horne-Francis will be above him, but don't go near it. There's nothing to go off to pick him, I don't think.
I completely agree, mate. Completely agree. I don't see the value in Horne-Francis. I think you either go up or you obviously go down to an Ollie Wines type.
Yeah, it's a really awkward price too.
He is. Verns, contributing with intelligence, mate. I like it. Keep it up. Very good from you. So I assume you don't have Horne-Francis in your team?
I have not even heard the name Horne-Francis in the last month in reference to Supercoach. So I don't know anyone who's chosen him. But Wines is in my team just because I think he was a pod, but now everyone seems to be jumping on him. I think he's good value. I think he's going to make money, but I don't think Horne-Francis has it in him to even make probably $100,000, if that. So there's so many better midfielders, and like you said before, just cheaper or slightly more expensive, that's going to get better production. So don't even think twice about it.
No, very nice, mate. And you said that you picked Ollie Wines as well. I have no issues with this pick, but I have some issues with the theory behind it. If people think that he's going to be a top-end premium, I highly advise you to look at the year he won the Brownlow. That was his best year statistically, and he won it. And he averaged just a tick over 110. So I don't think he's going to replicate that, but I do agree with the theory about how he could be a nice little stepping stone. Is that a fair summary?
That is a fair summary, yes.
Wonderful. Next one, we've got... Oh. No, we can't read that one out. The Sir 420, good to see you here, mate. Always here. Thank you so much for joining. Gents, if you had to lock in 4 defensive rookies, maybe one could be your mid-pricer like Williams, who would you bring in? 4 defensive rookies and one could be Williams. I'd either go Williams or Massimo, and then I would probably go Ethan Phillips if named, just because basement price. I'd go Zach Reed, who I've completely turned a full circle on because there's some things that I saw in that Geelong Essendon game that I really liked from a Supercoach standpoint. And I would assume a Caulfield type. I wouldn't want to be going into the season with Gibkiss at 150k, Reed and Phillips. I just think your money can be spent better elsewhere. Joshy, what about you, mate?
Yeah, exact same 4, like a D'Ambrosio or Williams. Can't afford both at the moment. And then, Caulfield, Reed and Phillips if named, but a big watch on Howes tomorrow night. If he gets a 60-70, then he's a late contender.
Yep, absolutely. Pleb, what's your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I'm similar with you guys, but I just want to know your thoughts on, because I haven't done much info on this guy. I haven't heard about him in a week, but Daniel Curtin from Adelaide. Is no one...
No,
I think
is that a big no-no?
Yeah, especially at that elevated price. I think...
He's still 34% owned.
Oh,
yeah.
that they can keep him. That's wonderful for them. But elevated price, playing down back for the Crows, probably key position at times. Definitely think that is the perfect response for you. Money can be spent better elsewhere. Corey's got one in here, which is wonderful again. Love Riley Bonner, could be a great pick this year. Looked good for the Saints on the weekend. I think he scored about 127. But the only issue is he's a midfielder. If he was a defender, I think most of the playing base would be on him. But as a midfielder at that elevated price, I think there are better options. You can say a Huswaite, a McKercher, Sanders, Roberts even. It's just wrong position for me. Joshy, what's your thoughts on Riley Bonner, mate?
Yeah, I completely agree. I've got no idea what the hell he did from his time at Port to St Kilda, because he was an absolute drop kick at Port, couldn't hit a target, and was delisted for a reason. But like back-to-back 30s disposal games, and like a massive score, like you said, the 127. But with all the other options and mid only, it's just you can't pick it at 280k. Like he's not even mid 250s or anything. He's like nearly 300k. Yeah, I can't do it, especially with no Sinclair on the side. You don't know how that's going to affect him when he comes in.
Yeah, well, they reckon that Sinks has had a little bit of a hiccup, so he might not be right for round one. But I just don't. Even if you did pick him, I don't think he'd make enough cash post DPP changes for it to be worth it, especially when Sinclair could come back at any time. Pleb, what's your thoughts, mate? Do you know who Riley Bonner is?
Honestly, I had no idea the fuck this bloke was until a couple of days ago, because everyone just started jumping on him, and all these content creators are like, "Get on Riley Bonner, he's the next big thing." I'm like, okay, who is this bloke? And then I actually watched Burns's segment before, and he was mentioning Riley Bonner. Everyone's jumping on him, but yeah, that's literally all I've got. I have no clue if this guy's going to be good or not.
Burns is big on him. Like he actually wanted us to bring it up.
Big on him.
Yeah,
he really sold me on him.
Well, there you go. For everyone listening on the audio or joining in the stream, that's an insight you get from us. You get Pleb, who has no idea who half these players are. If you can't find better content anywhere else, we are the podcast for you. Moving on from the questions, we're going to go into the fourth game, and that was GWS versus Gold Coast. Now, my goodness, did Alex Sexton look good off that halfback flank?
Yeah.
As a forward rookie, 133k, pumping out tons. And good tons as well. Surely he's a lock in all our sides. Yes? Burns, Pleb, apologies. Please.
Yes.
Please say yes.
He's been sitting in my team the entire time. He hasn't left.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And I think what's even better is he's an on-field option.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. There was also a fella named Harvey Thomas who looked really good. I think he scored a 72, and prior to that in the unofficial practice games looked good as well. I think he had 18 posies and also kicked a sausage roll, which was very nice from him. He's 117k mid forward, so if he is named, you can have a look at him, see how he goes, and then obviously make a decision next week, because we don't have to lock in teams. Josh Fahey was all right. The disposal efficiency was disgusting from him, so he only scored a 49. Had Jacob Weir, who really scores in spurts, which is interesting. He wasn't too bad. Midfielder, 123k, could be a viable bench option, but again, I think your money can be used elsewhere. Nothing against him. The erratic scoring was enough to put me off him. Joshy, any thoughts on this game, mate? I know you were big on a certain Primo for the Gold Coast.
Yeah, well, the thing with Ware, it's just so hard to pick him, even if he is named, with Perryman, who's been ruled out for opening round, to come in, and also Callahan, like two genuine wingers. Perryman can play defence and inside as well as a tagger, but Flanders I was looking at, wasn't really impressed with what I saw, and I'm going with zero Primo forward line anyway. And yeah, the Suns Primo that you were talking about is Took Miller. He looked fit again, which was the main part. Towards the back end of last year when he came back in, he still looked a bit average, a bit defensive, but 33 disposals, was playing as an attacking mid, not defensive like the back end of last year. 116 points. 545K for someone who's averaged 120 plus twice. I was really impressed with what I saw, and if he goes big again this round, I'm going to pick him.
Could
Yeah,
not
I like
agree
it.
more. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, great insight there, Pleb. Once again,
Yeah,
I like
it too.
You want to elaborate on that, mate, or are you good?
No, I'm more curious to just like don't think I've ever gotten as much whiplash from a player's hype than with Flanders, because everyone was all on him. Forward must start. Everyone's starting and stuff. What the hell is it all because of this Pracker game? Everyone is just like jumping off him now. They just didn't meet the eye test.
It is, yeah. People are very reactionary. Very reactionary.
That's not uncommon.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Well, we'll move on to the next game. We had Geelong and Essendon, and you were actually down there, weren't you, Joshy?
No, I wasn't down there.
No, that wasn't.
What's the whole game though? I went the week before, Moorabbin.
Yeah, that's right. Geelong forward rookie Dempsey elevated price again. He was pretty good. He was very nice on the eye. But I just don't. I know Geelong always have one rookie that always seems to play the entire year, and no one picks him up. He did have 15 posies and almost scored a ton, which was fantastic. But I don't think he is currently an option. As I said, like when you've got blokes like Sexton that are almost 20K cheaper, why wouldn't you go there? But one rookie I was super impressed by actually played for your mob, Joshy, and I was not big on him at all. Actual graveyard pick. But what I saw really changed my tune. That and I've told this to you multiple times, the intercept marking and the little dinky chip 15 meters, and then he would literally move 7 meters forward and get the mark again. And that was Zach Reid. He was very good. I scored an 80. Disposal efficiency was through the roof because he did nothing that was advantageous or dangerous at all. He just played his role and looked really nice. What was your thoughts on Zach Reid, mate?
Yeah, I was impressed. As an Essendon fan, like we've been waiting to see this guy get consistent footy for years, or not years, but his whole career, like 3 or 4 seasons now. And yeah, he's always been like his draft year. He was always touted as an elite kick for someone so tall. Like he makes big men look small at 205, 206 centimeters. But I thought it was going to be a slow burn. It was good to see that he can pump out an 80 or get those spike scores that we were talking about with Gibcus that you need for those key position defenders to actually make money. But yeah, he's locked into that best 22. His only risk in terms of playing is that injury risk, which is a big one. But secured in that best 22 as long as he's fit and actually showed some scoring power.
Is he injury prone?
Very injury prone, yeah. This is his 4th year in the system now, I think, and like he's played like 5 games or 6 games, and it's not because of form; it's because he's just been injured the whole time. Like hammies, stress fractures in the back, foot issues, like you name it, he's had it. But yeah, hopefully now, touch wood, he's fit.
It would be nice. It would be very nice because, as I said, my tune has completely changed on him. Pleb, what was your thoughts from this game, mate? Did you catch any of it?
No, I was probably working or sleeping.
Yep, perfect. That's the answer I expected.
Does a lot of that. Does a lot of sleeping.
He does.
The closer the AFL season gets, the busier I get.
Apparently, this man's got a job, which we can or cannot confirm. One bloke that was absolutely incredible was Nick Martin. Now, I have been huge on this fella playing off halfback. Kicked 2 sausage rolls, had 109 Supercoach points, but he easily left a 130 out there. I think in the last quarter, he had 7 touches and went at like 47%. So that really dragged that score from a huge mammoth ton right down, which in a way is a good thing, but it was just about the role for me. And Josh is going to hate me saying it, but with Ridley going down, what looks like to be the same injury on the same quad, it just...
Well, he reckons he's going to be back round 2, actually. Ridley said it himself, but
yeah,
I believe it when I see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Apparently, it's not as bad as first thought, but still.
Yeah, right. Well, even if he does come back, I think there's 2 elite kicks down there, and that's Ridley and Nick Martin. I don't see Nick Martin moving from that back line. At times, it literally looked like he was told, just to get the ball. Don't worry about it, man. We'll sort it out. He was everywhere. He just looked fantastic. Any love for Nick Martin, Joshy?
It just doesn't work for me with my structure. He's a gun player. I can't believe he was overlooked in a couple of drafts. But as you're saying, though, he left that 130 out. It does concern me a bit that he only got 109 from 2 goals and 28 disposals. You know, you're looking at those stats on face value, and you're probably thinking more 130. But as you said, missed targets, and that is another fear I have about him because he can kick like not many players in the comp. He tries to bite off some kicks that not many players will try. And then obviously that can lead to some turnovers, and that's not good for Supercoach, obviously.
Absolutely not, mate.
What's he priced at?
492, I think.
492K, mate. Do you know who Nick Martin is, mate?
Yes, I like watching Nick Martin. He's actually one of the few players who I'm like, I know, surprisingly. But no, I totally agree. He hasn't left my team. I'm big on him. I think he can make some money for me, and that's why I'm going like super mid-range for my midfield and stuff, and he fits perfectly in there. He'll get his TPP. I'm big on him.
Yep. Oh God, that kind of makes me want to reassess my thoughts, man. Interesting.
Who's Father go for? This is a big question.
Yeah, who do you go for, mate?
I go for Collingwood. Yeah, but
wow.
There's tiers of supporters. I'm here, and you're fucking somewhere in the stratosphere in terms of hardcore supporters. I'm like, I don't know, I've gone for Collingwood my whole life. I went to the 02-03 grand final, I think it was, against Brisbane, or 03-04, can't remember.
That would have been a good time.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
yes. But like, I've gone Collingwood my whole life. I'm just like, the older I get, I still go with Barrack Collingwood, watch all the games and shit. Rarely go to live games just because I'm like 60% introverted and I fucking hate people. Like, it's just nuts. I went to a live game last year. My first live game that wasn't, and it sounds so pretentious, that wasn't box seats because I usually get through my missus box seats like a couple times a year, so I'll go then.
Wow.
I went with the plebs last time, and halftime, I'm like, it's not bad. Like, it's not as bad as I thought. I haven't been in a few years. Went to go to the toilets, just Carlton supporters just doing coke in toilets everywhere, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm going home. It's 7:30 at night. What is going on? I'm fucking out of here. So I'm just scarred again from that. So I'll probably get another game in about 10 years.
Wonderful. And again, on the Supercoach Hub AFL Classic podcast, we do not endorse drugs.
Yes, don't do drugs, kids.
Even though someone called Pleb may look like that he does. But we will move on now to the Port and Freo game. Now, this was interesting. Because I remember messaging you, Joshy, thinking Dan Houston is absolutely out of my team.
Yeah.
Because he started absolutely terribly and still scored 109. So he just, that just cemented my views on him. The midfield was a bit hard to get a read on because obviously Butters went down so early. So I have no love for like Jackson Mead, who scored 112. I just nothing there in that game told me that that's a definitive to continue on happening. And there was just too many variables. But Rosé looked very good. He looked very, very nice, actually. What was your thoughts on the game, mate?
Yeah, well, when you messaged me about Houston, I think I said something along the lines of "go to sleep, you're high," or probably. or something like you're reactionary. But he had the slow as first half, but the roll was there, and I wasn't too fussed. And then, as you saw, finished on 109, 26 disposals, half-back roll still there. That's what he got in the All-Australian for. In terms of Wines and Mead and Horne-Francis, very hard to get a read on, like you said, without Butters. And just on Butters, it was a rolled ankle. He didn't amputate his leg. He's still an option. I cannot believe his ownership dropped. Hinkley, everyone said that he would have gone back on if it was a normal game. And I'm very happy to see his ownership drop every single day.
You have been waiting for so long to say that. So long.
Again, people are just so reactionary. He's gone from 34% to 23%. He's a gun. He's a gun. And I'll happily see him go under 25%. I don't care.
Perfect. Pleb, what was your thoughts from this game, mate?
I watched some highlights, believe it or not, but Dan Houston hasn't left my side this entire preseason. Just I personally, I like watching him. I think he's a good player and stuff, but I'm big on just the fact that I think Port play fucking 8 out of 9 first games at home, and for some reason his scores just inflate 30% from that, opposed to playing away. So that's literally my sole reason in terms of, and then no buys until fucking round when they're doing the buys.
It's
late into the season. Yeah, so that's another one. So I'm just like, and I'm dumb. This is probably why I'll do shit this season, but I'm choosing him over Nick Dacos because I got Tom Stewart in my team as well. Just purely because of the buys, and I think praying to God I can get Dacos somewhat a little bit cheaper if he has a bit of a Finn McGuinness tag error and just goes down in price and shit. So hopefully that's the case, but I'm all Houston.
Yep, completely plausible, mate. Completely plausible. Jace Burgoyne had an okay game. Elevated price, a tick under 180k, but he is a defender. He scored 67. He was only on the field for 63% time on ground, and he used it at 65% by foot. So one to think about. Not really in my headlights, so to speak. Has anybody had any interest in Jace Burgoyne at all?
Nope.
No. Nah. Another player, that's probably the first time you've heard of him, Pleb. But for Freo, Hayden Young looked good. He just butchered it. Like, he could have easily had a 150 that night. But I think his ownership only went up from there. You've got blokes like King Fife, who scored a 72. He looked incredible. Absolutely incredible. So, Joshy, I'm going to ask you now, has your tune changed on Fife?
Yeah, I said it last pod. If he gets over 50% owned, I'll have to pick him just because I think that risk becomes higher not owning him compared to the manage and injury. And he's up to 52 now. So he's in, but he's been firing the ball so regularly. But the only thing that's pissing me off is his handball to kick ratio. It's like 20 handballs and 3 or 4 kicks of the 2 games. So he needs to fix that up, but obviously because he's such a contested player, he's still getting the points. But I've got him now just because of ownership.
Yep. Understood.
You know the points difference between handballs and kicks?
I think it's a fair bit. Like I think uncontested, it's like two for a handball, 4 for a kick. And then contested, like kicks go up to like 6 or even like I think even higher. There's a lot of Supercoach's scoring systems cooked, like meters gained, everything's like comes into play. Efficiency.
Yeah. I just always known they're just always on the assumption that they've always been really secretive about how they do the scoring system with Supercoach.
Absolutely, they are.
Absolutely.
For some reason,
absolutely. We did have a couple of rookies play in that game. We had Oscar McDonald. He scored a 70. We had Paddy Voss, who obviously left the Dons. Joshy, you'd be... Oh, actually, I don't know how you feel about that, mate. He scored a 75. You had Jeremy Sharp on the wing score a 51, but that was inflated due to a late goal. So I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's going to be the prospect we all think he is. And Cooper Simpson literally was at the other end of the spectrum of his score from the other week. He did not look good at all. At all. He actually got some decent time on ground too. Almost the most out of all the rookies. And just didn't do much with it. Can we pick Patrick Voss when there was no Jai Amos or Luke Jackson? Is that an option?
I don't think you can. The Luke Jackson factor becomes a bit lessened now that Darcy's out because he'll be in the ruck mostly. But with like Amos to come in, Voss was pretty good. If he's picked, maybe pick him. But it's a bit of a grey area. Probably the one team that I wish could have had another look in opening round would probably be Freo. And that's even because Brendan Cox is still to come back, so that affects Oscar McDonald, who was also good.
Absolutely.
So, it's hard to get a read on him.
He's not out for very long. I think he'll be back within the first couple of rounds, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and you also mentioned Sharp. Like they've got O'Driscoll to come back, and Chapman will be in the early rounds as well. So all their rookies have question marks.
Increased. Luke Ryan just did Luke Ryan things, scored another 116. He was fantastic. Caleb Sarong still managed a 95. Now, if anyone watched this game, you would have seen in the first quarter, he had 14 points for about 8 touches. He was just absolutely butchering it. But I still respect his score. He's still got it to a 95, and I still think you pay that extra 20K over Brayshaw. Because Brayshaw just seems to be swapping with Matty Johnson out on the wing.
Yeah, he's got a disgusting role.
Yeah, with the inclusion of Young into those CBAs, and now you've got a fit Fife, it just Brayshaw seems like he's the one to push out and rotate with Johnson. So I'm not really loving the Brayshaw pick at the moment. Pleb, was there anything that came on from this game that you, I guess, caught your attention or made you think?
I did read into the whole Brayshaw thing because Brayshaw was actually in my side for a little bit. And then, I was reading some articles and stuff, how he started to play more on the wing and being switched and stuff. And then just, like you said, I'd rather pay the extra money and just get Sarong. So, yeah.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah.
Get to some questions now. Global, thank you so much for tuning in, mate. I think you've been here every single one, so my hat goes off to you. Tom Green will make it hard to fade him. Yes, I think it will be. I have no doubt he'll come out and just do very well. Honestly, he'll kill the Pies. He'll just do his thing. He's just a contested pig, but I can guarantee you after the first quarter, he'll have something like 12 touches and be on 17 points. And he'll still scrape a good score. Joshy, any love for Tommy Green at all?
Not with the one that if I was going to consider a buy promo in that midfield, it's Goulden. He's got that priority over Green at the moment if I do go one. But yeah, he's too much of a butcher, Green.
Yep, agreed. Pleb, what's your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I can't. If the round 3 buy wasn't there, the round 3 or round 4, if it wasn't there, he'd probably be 25% more owned. But I just, that's purely the reason. I'd love to have him in my team, but I just can't handle that, having him on a buy that early into the season.
Yeah. And he's got North and West Coast in the first 2 rounds.
And that's a really annoying
thing. He's going to go big.
Yeah.
Yep. It might bode well for, say, a rookie like Cadman or something. He could go really pop, and then you get that low break even and just ride that through, make some real decent cash.
Yeah.
Jay, Zach Fisher a lock. Wow. My goodness. There's 2 things I want to say about Zach Fisher. We obviously know that he's 378K, so he's not cheap, but he's not premium price forward. But the things that I keep coming back to is I don't rate him as an AFL footballer. Yet he has the best role in Supercoach. Like they literally turned Jack Zeeble into F1 at one stage and almost D1 at the same time with that DPP. And I'm fairly sure Zeeble started at a similar price too. Like Zach Fisher had 18 posies against the Pies in the first unofficial practice game. And then he came out and had 36. He had something like 668 meters gained. And this is from a bloke that at some points wasn't even getting a game at Carlton and he was fully fit. So I don't see how he's not going to have that role and why you shouldn't try and get him into your side, because I literally think if he keeps that role, he's an easy lock for top 4 forwards. Easy, if not better. And by the time, if that role changes, you could have easily made 150K. Like there's every possibility he could get to 550K. And it's not because he's an amazing footballer or an elite bowler at all. It's because of the role. It's fairly simple. Is there any conjecture about that at all, Joshy?
No, I think he's a bang average footballer, like you're saying. Like any other team probably be in the VFL. I still have a bit of a worry about how many Seagulls can North have back there, like Sheasel, McKercher, and Fisher. You've got to have some of your back six actually defending. But I just don't think you can ignore a 36 disposal, 130-point game at his price. I had to fix my team around a little bit to find the money for him. He's in 30% teams now. It's just going to keep rising. And as you said, that role is there. And Aaron Hall, Jack Zeeble, we've seen it before at North.
We have.
Yeah, he's gonna score by the looks of it. And gonna have to pick him.
Pleb, what's your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I agree in terms of what you said earlier with the role, because I think one of the main key points to win Supercoach is you need to not only just like get talented players, obviously, but the role plays a massive part, and I think that's probably the main priority. Is just like role is key to how a player's success is on the field. And he's always got the perfect role. I was watching highlights of that match, and I remember seeing he had 3 touches in like 5 seconds, and it was just ridiculous, just because he just kept getting back to him. And so the role's there, and like he is 30% now. He probably once season starts, probably be like 35% owned. So and that's getting to a territory where I don't want to risk not having him in case he explodes. So he's in my team now.
Yeah, perfect, mate. Perfect. The Surf 420 says, is McCluggage a smoky pick with Neil potentially being managed in the first few rounds? I'm going to say no, maybe in draft, but Neil still scored well from limited time on ground. Like, Neil still did very, very good from what time he was literally playing the game. And if he's going to be managed, I'm sure, like, Brisbane are a good side. It's not as if, like, we're talking about a West Coast here where they don't have players to come in and play that role. So I don't think it's just going to be as simple as saying, all right, Neil's not spending, say, the 35% he would be on the field. Therefore, say 20% of those points are going straight to McCluggage. Like, I think you're going to have Rayner run through there. Dev Robertson, maybe. I'm not sure if he's fit or not, if he's going to get picked. You could also have Zach Bailey run through there. Like, if anything, I think Neil being managed is a good thing for Brisbane, because they'll have other playmakers run through there, and then they get a look at what they can do in case they actually need to play them in the middle. But that's just my opinion. Joshy, what's your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I think McCluggage is a Rolls Royce like gun player, but I don't think he'll ever be that guy that goes 110 plus. I think he'll always be that 100, 105 and maybe push a 108. But he's stuck behind Neil and Dunkley in terms of those high scoring options. And I think last year, someone I knew drafted him, and he started really slow with Ashcroft in that midfield mix. And then as soon as Ashcroft came out, he really started to get going. Could be the reverse this year with Ashcroft coming in mid-season. McCluggage could start hot, but then probably fade and taper towards the back half.
Yep, understood, mate. Pleb, any opinion on that, mate?
Not really, in terms of like, I'd like to probably know the stats of what McCluggage gets when Neil hasn't been on the field with him in previous games. But other than that, it's just you're trying to get players, especially at that awkward price. Like, you don't, unless this was a thing where you could get players in for one game, doesn't cost you a trade. That'd be good, and then you're going to risk him, but you can't. He's just not worth it. There's other better players out there for similar price.
Yep, perfect, mate. Johnny says, this is not Supercoach related, but we'll answer it anyway because I like the fella. Who will score for Madrid, Jude or Rodrigo Scoobs? I would definitely, and we don't endorse gambling, but if I was a gambling man, it'd be Vinny Jr. and Jude, mate. I don't think Rodrigo plays because Brahim Diaz will still play, mate. Any of you looking at Rosie?
I know you are, Scoobs, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't know. I just think with the confidence he had, and obviously him now being captain, it was so hard to tell because Butters obviously went down early, but Rosie just looked class, and he always has. But I don't know, there's something about that game that just made me think like he's the captain now. He's put the team on his shoulders. He's going to do whatever he wants. I know he's classy. I know he's a good finisher. Therefore, he might end up forward. But why, if you're the captain, why would you not want to be playing every second that you're on the ground in the guts? I don't understand that. Joshy, are you at all, mate?
No, I'm not, because I'm still like, I'm still on the Butters train. I'm not jumping off that, and I don't want both of them in there. But yeah, he's a gun skipper. Looked really good against Freo, but I'm just gonna wait and see on him.
Yep. Pleb, what's your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, similar. I think it's either him or a Butters, but everyone's obviously going Butters higher ceiling and stuff. Like, what do you get? 107. I think he can get 110 plus average this year.
I think it's plausible. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't think he'll average more than Butters, though. That's the only problem.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Yep, perfect. We'll head into the last part of the pod because we want to wrap this up soon. The next 3 games, Adelaide v West Coast. What did we think from that? Firstly, Harley Reid had a much better role. I think he was really the only relevant rookie in this game, which is sad, but there was no curtain. I mean, Reid just looked good. Like, I think Simpson's actually realised that maybe potentially the penny's dropped and his job's on the line, and he's got to play a kid that's played all his junior footy through the middle in the middle. Now, I know that's shocking and it might be crazy to some, but if someone's good at something, maybe allow them to continue doing it. That's just my thoughts, because I really don't think he's like a Dacos type or a Sheasel type. I don't think he's got that polish off of halfback that those two have. So why not keep him in the position that he done so well in and obviously earned the number 1 pick in? Joshy, what was your thoughts on this game, mate?
Yeah, well, with Reid, I said that I needed to see the complete opposite to his first game, and that's pretty much what we saw. A lot better game, 20 touches, score in the 80s. Rory Laird, I'm as big on him as anyone that plays Supercoach. He's dropped down to 6% of sides, which is the lowest I've seen him in a very long time. Like, before he was a All-Australian defender, because he was even a high-owned defender back in the day.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he still had the most CBAs for Adelaide, and that was with them still trying out guys like Rankin and Berry and Saligo, and getting a lot of guys through that midfield with Crouch and Dawson there as well. And he still had the most CBAs, only the 89, scored 26, had 26 disposals, but he was just cruising around. He honestly was looking like he just wanted to get through and get to round 1. And I saw enough to pick him. And I think he's still ahead of Dawson.
Yep, perfect, mate. Pleb, what's your thoughts? I'm sure you're an Elliot Yeo owner, aren't you?
No, fuck no. No chance.
Perfect. Yep. Wonderful, mate. Wonderful. No interest there?
No, I can't do it. I'm not doing 5 a year. I can't do it.
Yep.
One of them will go down the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair assumption. Yo had 96 from 16 touches, but he also had 9 tackles, which was absolutely immense from him.
Huge.
One man that I wanted to highlight from the Crows, who Joshy knows I have a massive soft spot for, is Matty Crouch. He had 114 in literally 57% time on ground. Like, it was insane. He just did Crouch things and went at 100% DE for the day, which his disposal normally does have a knock on it, but he was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Is there any love for Sam Berry at all, those boys? He scored 115, had 22 posies, kicked 2 snags. Anything there?
No.
226k midfielder? No?
I've got a soft spot for him because a couple of years ago I had him in draft and he was a forward and he averaged 86 and he's an elite tackler. I think that year he had the most tackles for the year, but with the McKercher, Sanders, Huswaite, Lazaro, Reid, like all them guys, even Dow, I don't think you can go there with Berry, especially in that logjam of the Crows midfield, which actually is starting to get a lot of options to run through there.
Absolutely, there is. Yeah, completely agree. On to the Hawks and Bulldogs game, which, my God, this had a lot of relevant Supercoach options floating through it. Just to name a few, like, you've got Riley Sanders, who scored 86 and should be in everyone's teams. James Harms scored a 74. Nick Caulfield had a 51. You could almost... Well, I think everybody should just about have Henry Huswaite, who had 84, 184k rookie in the middle. And Massimo D'Ambrosio, who scored a 77 at an elevated price as a defender. I was very interested in his game. Any takeaways from this?
With D'Ambrosio, I was really hoping we'd be able to see him with the whole back 6. You know, Amon wasn't in the first game. And then the second game, they don't name Weddle. It's still hard to get a read on him, but I think I trust him more than I do a Williams, unless he can score really well in opening round just because of his body and stuff. Huswaite, I don't know how you can't pick him. That's 2 games in a row now. He's been really solid. I know Day and Moore are going to come in early, but surely they don't drop him. And Moore is a good
Yep.
forward, so they could play him high half forward still. Other than that, Phillips, I just really hope he gets named. I'd love a 102k option, especially because we're all probably going to be spending up in the ruck this year when we're usually not to get Naismith instead of a loophole.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Caulfield, again, solid. Howes could take his spot if he plays well. And Bont just did Bont things, so did Libba. Nothing really more to add.
Pleb, anything else, mate?
No, but I'm going to have to love you and leave you, mate, because I've got to start work and get some markets created for tomorrow night's game. So sorry, because my boss is going to message me in about 10 minutes ago. Where the fuck are you?
At least we got him. At least we got him.
I mean, that's a pretty elaborate excuse just to go to sleep, mate. But thank you so much for joining.
Thanks,
good
mate.
to see you.
Give you some tips.
Yeah, if you want tips, I'll give you some tips.
Absolutely. Just at Supercoach Pleb on Twitter, he'll give you the best multis you can find. We don't endorse gambling to anyone under the age of 18, though.
Yes.
So thank you, mate.
Thanks, guys. I'll chat to you later.
See you, mate. Bye. Carl Amon, mate. Any love there at all?
Personally, no. And especially when, I'm personally not in that sub 500k market. I've got guys like Steele and Miller just paying up that little bit more. But if I was, I think I'd prefer your Crouch and your Martins and even your Wines over a Amon. I don't know about you though. Were you impressed?
I was. He had 28 touches, 24 of them were kicks, and he scored a 96. So I think he did all right. I can't get over Nick Martin at the moment. His role is just phenomenal. From the Dogs, we also had Buku Kamas, who scored a 59. He wasn't too bad. Caulfield was good, but not as good as the previous game. And John Newcomb, honestly, you wouldn't begrudge anyone from picking him as a premium because that man is a serious footballer. And one thing I noticed about his game was when I looked at his marks and tackles, they kind of swapped because you're so used to seeing him have so many tackles, but he only had 3. And in this game, he had 9 marks. I just thought that was an interesting statistic to pin on someone like that. Last game, I know it's been a long pod, but we're getting through it. There's been some good players through here. We spoke about Riley Bonner, Plebs man.
Yeah.
We talked about Zach Fisher, so we don't need to address that. A forward mid that we're all very big on at 180k, Charlie Lazaro, mate. Tell me your thoughts on him.
I saw enough. I watched a North Intra, which I usually don't watch North Intras, and he was
completely understandable.
Yeah, watched the North Collingwood game. He had 22 disposals, was good again. And then on the weekend, I saw enough. He only scored a high 60, but 21 touches, and the role was good. He started in the midfield. I think he ended up with only 30% CBAs, but I'm taking that. I'm taking 20 or 30% CBAs at his price when he's not just going forward. You typically look at 180k guy playing forward, but he's playing that high half forward role, which we've actually seen be quite fruitful of late with Billings scoring well and Lazaro scoring well. And then there's a load of other guys that can play that role. But I saw enough and I'm going to pick him over Windsor. What about you?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, no, I currently have Windsor and Lazaro. I think that's where our structures differentiate a little bit.
Yeah.
But, everything I saw, and, he could have easily gone bigger than what he did. So, I think, second quarter, the DE, if from memory, wasn't the best. But I'm completely happy with that. And now that Jai Simpkins out, there's going to be some more CBAs there. Also, I think everyone's going to have this fella. Darcy Wilson had 106. He also had 6 frees for 130k mid forward. I am not even going to ask if he's in your team because I know he is.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on him though?
Well, I actually didn't have him until about 5-minute mark into that game. And my thoughts is that it's why I'm comfortable in fading a Windsor type. I'm comfortable with having those. I've got 4 mid-price forwards, and then Harley Reid and Sexton on field, who I'm really confident with Sexton on field. And then on the bench, I got Lazaro, who could be Windsor if he plays well tomorrow night, and then I've got Wilson. And just like the way Wilson was playing, I'd be confident if in the bye round I need to put him on that ground, or if there's an injury I need to put him on the ground. And it's allowed me to get cash by going Windsor down to like a mid rookie,
Yep.
like a Jai Clark or something. But yeah, I was really happy with what I saw, and it was the role again, that high half forward wing role. Racked it up along that far side wing to the coverage cameras, and yeah, he's in.
I agree, absolutely. I just don't think we can be expecting 100 plus every game. You got to factor in
Definitely
that,
not. Yeah,
yeah, you got to
yeah,
factor in he had 6 frees for. I know there was
yeah.
one against, but there was no Crouch. There was no, who's the other fella, the bald fella? I've had a mental. Zach Jones.
Bald
He,
fella. Oh, right.
yeah,
Yeah,
he wasn't there
yeah,
either.
yeah.
So
Even
regardless of if
Sinclair who rolls through
yeah,
there.
exactly. And
Yeah,
regardless if they play the same position, they're going to have to move the magnets to accommodate these type of players because they're not going to have them fit and not play them, so to speak. So he's an absolute lock, but I think you've got to temper your expectations as well. There's one bloke that I wasn't too impressed with, but I think this was mainly down to Zach Fisher just going nuclear, and that's McKercher. Now, I've seen some people jump off of him, but I've still got him. What was your thoughts, mate?
I saw what I needed to see. When you partner it up with guys in Collingwood,
Yep.
I saw what I needed to see. 18 disposals, a 58, which you probably like a bit more at 202K, but that role was there. That's all I needed to see. Role was there. He's a good kick usually. I think he might have junked it up a little bit to stuff like that score, but as someone who went to Moorabbin a couple of weeks ago, it really blows wind down there. Like it's hard to kick from someone who's watching it. The ball just swirls around in that air. But he did everything on SC, and people can keep jumping off if they want, but he's a lock for me.
Yeah, I've currently still got him. I do have doubts creeping into my head though.
Really?
Just
What did
regarding
you not like? What did you not like?
nothing that he did specifically. That's the issue. That's why I'm so torn. There wasn't a standout moment that I didn't like from him. It was more the fact that literally every single distribution or scoring launch was coming through Zach Fisher. That's again why I think you need him. But I don't think there's too many mouths to feed down there. Like I think it was just one of those games where Fish went 130 another day. McKercher goes 80, Fish goes 100. You own both. You're happy with it. Another one that I'm absolutely shattered that's a forward, and I'm going to butcher this name, but Goa Nguyen scored an 87. And he's a forward, which is disgusting, and I don't want to wait post round 6 for that DPP. But his disposal efficiency was 86%. He was on the ground for 93% of the game, and he took some big marks, took 6 of them actually, and just looked really, really nice. So I genuinely wouldn't begrudge anyone for picking him at all. But they did have a couple of players out.
Cora and Comben.
Yeah, which I know they're not exactly like for likes, but again, like the magnets will move. That will happen. Another defender that played defense, I should say, is Toby Pink. Now, I've got no idea how this man scored a 70 because it'll look good on Footy Info or Fan Footy. But if you look at the statistics, this man has had 11 handballs and 1 mark for 70 Supercoach and 28 fantasy.
Yeah.
It's a no thank you. Absolutely nah. No way. There's no interest there at all. Yeah. One man that I know that you're off is LDU, mate. Give us a spiel about him.
Yeah, I'm off LDU. Initially, I was going to keep him. I think he's going from 16% to 9% in which was a horrible, horrible game. Like a 36 score, 14 touches. But I was actually going to hold firm because I saw last year he scored a 55 in preseason and was shit as well. But then came out with 2 140 plus scores. But given how good Fisher was, I needed to find cash somehow, and the way I did it was LU down to Took. Might lose out on points a little bit, but Took's best is we've seen it 120 plus.
Yep.
But yeah, I think a lot of people are getting turned off, obviously, by what we saw by LDU. But he showed last year he did this in a preseason game, and he came out all guns blazing. And someone who's had injury troubles, I think he was just trying to cruise around and get to round one.
Yep. What about Jack Steele, mate? Because I know you're absolutely huge on him.
Oh, he has not left my team since Team Picker. He has been in every single version, and I can't say that about many players because I have changed my team a lot over this preseason. Yep. But yeah, another one like Took, who's averaged 120 plus twice, and they were big 120s, like 122 and 126 averages. They're huge for someone who's priced at, I think he's priced at 95, 529K. And what I wanted to see was, is he tackling again? Because he had those shoulder and that collarbone issues, and that's what really stuffed his scoring around. And, he only had the 21 disposals, but he still managed the 111 points, and it was purely because he tackled 9 times and tackled 9 times the week before. So that tackling's back. He's finding the ball, and his role it's elite. I know Crouch and Sinclair were missing, but he's going to be getting 75, 80% CBAs every week.
Yeah, I'm super happy with my team at the moment, but my one last decision is I've got enough cash in the bank to go from Nick Martin up to Jack Steele, but I don't know what I'm going to do. Currently, I have Nick Martin just because of the role, but I think if either of them were to theoretically price me out, I think it would be Steele. I don't know which way that's going to go. That's our rundown. We get to some questions and we'll end this bad boy off. Jay said, is McKercher trapped based off his role on the weekend? We've covered that. Too many mouths down at the Roos. We've covered that. Michael Higginson, great to see you again, mate. With the Darcy injury, are you interested in Jackson? Me personally, I'm not, because he's already basically priced at what he was without Darcy. I don't think he's going to price you out either. If they come out and say, like round 3, that Darcy's had a setback and he's not going to be back till round 15, then obviously plans need to change. But right now, I'm not, I don't have Jackson in my side. What about you, mate?
Yeah, I'm set on that 0 premium forward line. I can see why people are going Jackson. We talked about in the ruck pod and the forward pod. He went 116.7 last year without Darcy and an 85.7 with Darcy. So I won't be surprised if he comes out first 4 or 5 weeks averaging 115 plus. But I think after that you're going to be lost because the surgery Darcy's having isn't major. I'm pretty sure it's just a clean out of the knee. I know he's injury prone, so it could take longer for Darcy to get back to footy, but in 27% of sides now. So people are interested. People are really interested. But yeah, I'm not going there.
No, neither am I. Jay wants to know, is Harvey Thomas a legit option? Yes, he is. If he comes out and scores 80 this week, 100%, it just cements his spot into that side, I think. I am a yes. What about yourself, mate?
Yeah, well, I'm looking for a 117K guy to just save that little bit more cash. Mid forward is handy. And one of those guys, again, we get to see an opening round. Scores well, he's in. Scores shit, he's out.
Yep, completely understandable. Jay wants to know, Joshy, you still picking Oliver?
Well, I said in chat that if he scores a 120 or 115, he's in. Still might do it, but I think I've come to the conclusion that the upside is probably what he's priced at. So you're not really going to lose out on much. I don't think he's going to gain too much cash that he's unreachable. So I think I'll have to watch a bit. But if he goes 115, 120, for a guy that's gone 4 seasons in a row, high 120s, you're always going to have a look at Clary, I think.
Yep, agreed. Who removed Stewart after preseason game? I did, purely because of the distribution that Max Holmes was having. What about yourself, Joshy?
I did for that reason as well. We spoke after the game about our
Mm.
concerns, but also because I need that cash. And what I did was I just went Stewart to Young. I'll probably lose out on some points there again, but Young's going to make more money, presents more value. And I think he can, from what I saw, I think he can go that 102, 105 plus average, which is enough for me. And that cash really does wonders for the rest of my side. I think this is a year that we really need to invest in the rookies and the mid prices that we've got, and getting someone out like a Stewart de Young really facilitates that.
Yep, understood. Naismith debuting for Richmond, a lock for R3. I mean, that's just a blatant yes.
Yeah, and this plantar fasciitis for Nate seems to be a lot worse than the first thought. Like, I thought he was going to be back round 1, round 2, but it honestly looks like we might be able to get a few price rises out of Naismith before Nate's back.
Yep, absolutely. Nick Martin also didn't run out of the square a few times as well. I know we hate that, but I'm sure he will. And I mean, that's just 3 points.
Preseason, yeah.
Oh goodness, we can't read that out. Oh, we can't read that out. Oh, we can't read that out as well. We appreciate everyone in here, but some of these comments we just can't read out. Global says Aaron Hall was a spud for most of his career and he was able to run a muck at North. Firstly, I will not stand by and let someone slander my man Aaron Hall. If anyone knows me, I've had a beautiful love affair with Aaron Hall, and it ended with me bringing him in and him being on like 48 late in the first quarter, and then he did a hammy, so that never eventuated. But as we said before, it's that role. Like Zach Fisher's got it, so it's just easy.
Yep.
Harley Reid or James Harms?
James Harms is the one that I've started to fade now just to get Fisher in. I'm red hot on Jordan, red hot on Billings. Life is a necessity with the ownership, and Reid bounced back. So I think Harms is out now. I don't know about yourself, but I think he was the one that least impressed me out of those mid-price guys.
Yeah, I mean, I currently don't have James Harms. He was my option to get up to Zach Fisher, so that was it. We did have a question sent in earlier. If you're picking either Dacos or Goulden from round 1, who would it be and why over the other? You can start off.
Just cut out. What was that?
If you can only pick one, Dacos or Goulden to start from round 1, who would it be?
Oh, Dacos,
Yep.
and 72% owned, and like they're both absolute guns in terms of scoring, but I think it has to be Dacos.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong either way. It just, which player you don't pick is just going to pop. So I think
Absolutely,
you've just got to take it how it is.
Yeah.
And I think that wraps us up for this evening. So we do have a shout out from Verns, who is obviously sick. He wants everybody in the Discord that is a part of the AFL Supercoach Hub Discord to please jump on there and get their votes in for the consensus team. It's a team basically picked off votes, and you'll have your say when, I guess, you want to trade a player out or you want to bring a player in, and there's a voting system. And yeah, you just get a little bit of a say in, I guess, managing another team, so to speak. Everyone knows where to find us. Like and subscribe. We're available on YouTube and Spotify. Join the Discord. Linktree's in the bio. And thank you once again to everybody in the chat. Thank you to everybody that literally comes every single week. They write comments in here that we can actually say and some that we can't. Also, a massive thank you to Honeyball, who is our first official sponsor. Don't forget to check them out. They're currently running a special 20% off for the preseason starts, and that will eventuate into the real deal. You literally get up-to-date injury lists. You get literally everything you would want in order to manage a team efficiently with up-to-date injury lists. You get price projections. You get this for AFL Fantasy as well, not just Supercoach. join there. Great community. And also, you can bounce ideas off players that have a much better rank finish than myself. And I don't know what your best rank is, Joshy, but it's definitely worth it. And with 20% off, definitely check out the boys from Honeyball. So, Joshy, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for Verns for still dropping by the chat. And thank you so much for Pleb for apparently needing to work at 10 o'clock, which we all know that is a bit of...
At least we got him.
Yep.
At
least we got him. Absolutely.
He's real.
He is real. He is real. And I advise everyone to look up Sid the Sloth and then compare it to Pleb. Okay? Tell me what you think. At me on Twitter, at ScobyBryant36. Check me out. Check what we've been putting up. Don't forget to check out Joshy at JG2315. Is that right?
2325. Yeah.
At JG2325. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic night. That's all from us. See you next time.